All right, here's a story. Tomorrow is going to be the day of the passing away of the first Rebbe of Chabad. And he passed away in a place which is called Kfar Piena.
It's Friday. Friday, not tomorrow.
Good, good, very good. Okay, thank you very much. Friday is going to be the day of the passing away of the tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. So I'm a little bit right. Tomorrow night is going to be the day of the passing away of the first Rebbe of Chabad, Rebbe Shneur Zalman, the one who wrote the Tanya. And he passed away fleeing from Napoleon. He was fleeing from Napoleon. He was a big enemy of Napoleon, and he predicted and even helped the defeat of Napoleon, even though it was against all apparent indications. Napoleon was winning, and in fact, Napoleon did win. Napoleon really defeated Russia, but the Russians, they moved away and they burned their cities, so that Napoleon didn't have any food. There was no food for his armies, and then the winter came in early, and he had to leave. And then they started this guerrilla warfare, and they decimated his whole army as it was retreating. A little bit of history, I know. Okay, but that's not what I'm talking about. The first Rebbe of Chabad, he um, he was running away from Napoleon. So every time they would come to a road, as because nobody knew, what was going on, and no one knew exactly where Napoleon's armies were and what was destroyed. Because Napoleon, he destroyed everything. Also, he was a ruthless person. So they didn't know exactly where to go. So every time they would go to a place, the Alter Rebbe, so I'm sorry, they were running away from this place of Liozna. I think I told the story about Napoleon coming into his town. I'll tell that anyway. So let's go. Here's the story. So Napoleon, he came to the city of Liozna, where the Alter Rebbe was staying, specially to go to that city, because he knew that the first Rebbe of Chabad was making trouble for him. And he was causing him defeat. Whether he knew that spiritually, Napoleon was a big sorcerer. It was a very, how do you say, mystical person, and his victories that he had were totally not normal. I mean, he was held in awe by everybody, even by his enemies. So he made a special effort to come to the city of Liozna, where the Alter Rebbe was, and he sent special soldiers to the house where the Alter Rebbe, to find the house of the Alter Rebbe, and to either bring him or any possession that he had. The Alter Rebbe knew that he was coming, and he escaped. And he escaped with he was accompanied by soldiers of the Tsar, because he helped the Tsar to win the war. He sent spies on Napoleon to spy on him and to get secrets, and he gave those secrets to the Tsar, and he helped in the Tsar to win, or at least to stave off the defeat. And so the Tsar sent several soldiers with him. So he sent the soldiers, the Alter Rebbe he ran away. He had like 60 wagons, I think, of people, all of Chabad. They all escaped from Napoleon a few days before Napoleon arrived. But as they were leaving, the Alter Rebbe sent one of the soldiers back to burn his house down. Burn his house. He knew that Napoleon was coming after him, and that Napoleon wanted to get any possession of his, and that with that he could put a curse on him. The Rebbe was very worried about this. There's what's it called, symbiotic magic or something. Anyway, some sort of, like, there's a word for it. That if you have a possession of somebody, you can put a spell and a curse on these people. They did this with voodoo and stuff like that. Anyway, he knew this stuff, and the Alter Rebbe knew he was coming for him. And Napoleon, when he came into this town, it was specially to get the Alter Rebbe, especially, and the Rebbe escaped. Good. So the Rebbe escaped, and every time they would come and he was being accompanied by these, the Russian guards and everything. Every time they would come to like a T in the road, or a fork in the road, his Alter Rebbe would go out and he would lean on his cane, and he would say, "This way, we should go this way." And so there was one time they came to a certain place, and the Rebbe said, "You should go this way," but the Alter Rebbe's grandson, I think it was his grandson, Nahum, yeah, his grandson, I think. So he knew the roads. He was a big genius, and he knew the roads. and he decided that the Alter Rebbe had made a mistake. That's what he decided. He said that going this way, the Alter Rebbe said, is a disaster. It's going to be a disaster. We can't do it. And to save, he told everybody to go the other way. After a couple of days, the Alter Rebbe said, "Why are we here?" So because we turned that way, the Alter Rebbe said, "Okay, if that's the way it is, then that's the way it is." And it ended up that the Alter Rebbe became sick in a place called Kfar Piena, and he passed away. He passed away. Okay, there are several stories told about this. I told one of them yesterday. Didn't I told the story yesterday? About the two Jews? Yeah, I did. Right. That the Alter Rebbe. Okay, but here's another story. So the Alter Rebbe passed away over there, and now there was a big problem. The big problem is they heard the Alter Rebbe say the word Hadich. He wanted to be buried in Hadich. Hadich was like several hundred miles away from where they were. And why he wanted to be buried in the city of Hadich, it was not clear to anybody, but it was clear that's where he wanted to be buried. Okay, it was winter. It was like now in Russia, it's winter time. And it was very difficult for him to how would they go? So the Alter Rebbe with a couple of his, I think it was one of his sons and another person, another two Chassidim, in any case, they put the Alter Rebbe's, they decided, oh, and Napoleon was everywhere. So they decided if they're going to make such a long journey like that, that Napoleon, his soldiers at least, will suspect something's going on. They'll see that they're carrying this coffin and they'll look inside. So they decided what they're going to do is they took the Alter Rebbe and they left him in his regular clothes. They bundled him up and just letting his face out as though he was an old man they were taking somewhere. And so that the Napoleon soldiers, if they saw a casket or something, then they would open it up, right? They would do something with it. They think maybe smuggling arms or something. And so they were in a sleigh. There were three of them, and there were horses pulling the sleigh. And they put the Alter Rebbe, they sat him, I guess, in the back, and somebody sat next to him, and the other two sat in the front, and they bundled themselves up also. And they drove to the place Hadich. It was a long drive. I don't know, 2, 3, 4 days, how long it was. And whenever they would stop, sometimes they would stop in an inn to warm up or something, have a cup of tea. So they would leave one person in the wagon with the Alter Rebbe, and the other two would go in and warm up, and then they would come back out, and the other person would go in. It happened to be that they stopped at one place, and two went in, and one was sitting there with the Rebbe in the sleigh, and suddenly the Alter Rebbe, the body of the Alter Rebbe, it rose up, lifted up. So this person was tremendously, the one that was sitting next to him became afraid, tremendously, afraid. The Rebbe had passed away. There was no doubt about it. And the Rebbe was moving. They saw he was moving up, so they couldn't. So he went around. He ran outside. Went outside to see what was happening. He couldn't sit next to the Rebbe anymore. He was just so petrified. And he saw that under the place where the Rebbe was sitting, where the Rebbe's body was, in the sleigh, the Rebbe was in the sleigh, but underneath the sleigh in that part was a pig. And that a pig was there. It must have gotten away from a farm or something like that, and it was under there. So he chased it away, and the Alter Rebbe settled back down. Either it was in that inn or in another inn, and that the two went into the inn, and the innkeeper, he brought these two Hasidim, like, cups of tea or whatever they wanted, and they paid him a little something so that they could sit there and eat in quiet. And the owner of the inn came over to them and said, "Listen, I just heard the two men sitting at the edge of on the other side of the room, that they're going to rob you. That they noticed that there's one person sitting, two people sitting in the carriage, and two people came in. In other words, you didn't leave the carriage alone." And they're suspicious there must be some money or something in the carriage. That's why you didn't want to leave it alone, because it doesn't make any sense. Why doesn't everybody come in and warm themselves up? So the innkeeper said, listen, I advise you to don't pay me. Say, well, we're going outside just for a moment to go to the bathroom, whatever. We'll come right back. We'll pay you. Go outside, jump in the sleigh, and get out of here as fast as you can. You don't have to pay. Go outside because these people, they'll kill you. They'll. So they said that's what they did. They did the plan. They said, "Oh, excuse us, we'll just have to go outside for a couple minutes. We'll come right back to the bathroom and we'll pay you." The guy said, "Okay, you're going to come back?" Yes. Yes. Okay. And they went outside. They jumped in the sleigh and they drove away. And the two robbers were waiting for them to come back. They didn't come back after 5 minutes, 10 minutes. They looked outside. They saw the sleigh wasn't there. They jumped on their horses and they ran after them. And they weren't able to. Which usually riding on a horse alone is much faster, but they weren't able to catch up to them. They weren't able to catch up to them. When they came to this place in Haditch, where they're going to bury the Alter Rebbe, they buried him. As the grandson who made this wrong decision, he felt so guilty about it that he devoted his whole life to staying there and just cleaning up the place, cleaning up and just making sure that the grave was kept well. And that was the story. And to this day, the Alter Rebbe is buried there, and hundreds of Hasidim go. I went 2 years in a row, 2 years, maybe even 3 years in a row. I went up there. Now there's built a whole big hotel over there, and it's a very big, sort of a central place. But that's going to be on Friday. Tomorrow night is Kaf Dalet Teves, the day of the passing away of the first Rebbe of Chabad. May his merits guard over us, and it's a day to make a decision to learn more Torah and to do more good deeds and to do everything we can to bring Mashiach. Now, have a good day, everyone. Shalom uvracha. See you all tomorrow.
Yes, Thank